And welcome back to another video, and today I'd like to be going over my 2022 Senate election prediction. So you know I've made a lot of videos in the past lately, but we do have some more news updates coming in on the 2022 Senate election prediction for the midterms. So if you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a like down below, click that bell to receive notifications when I'll be posting, which will usually be 2 videos daily. So let's get into it. So currently, it's 50-50 in the United States Senate. And Democrats have the majority with Vice President Kamala Harris breaking the tie. But if you look at the Senate, it's really close because the Republicans are not actually really that far from taking back the Senate. So these are current seats that are currently being held as of 2021. And probably until the 2022 midterms, if anything does change in the midterms. And there's currently 5 official retirements in Ohio, Alabama, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Missouri. And then there are a few retirements that I'm going to toss up: Iowa, South Dakota, Vermont, and New Hampshire. These are possibly Wisconsin. These are potential retirements. Possible retirements, not 100% sure. The ones I characterize, which are the yellow seats, which are 100% the senators are retiring. And keep in mind, all the yellow states I have highlighted that are in yellow, all of the retirees are Republican. So we're basically mostly going to be focusing on Missouri in today's video. And the reason we're focusing on Missouri is because Eric Greitens, a former governor of Missouri, is now in the Senate race. And, it really benefits the Democratic Party because, it's a possible, flip, Democrats could expand the majority in Missouri. And the reason the Senate is looking really good for the Democratic Party is because of how Missouri could actually potentially get really close in the Senate, and how a lot of other states could follow in the same process. So Eric Greitens actually resigned because of his unpopularity. I'm not really going to go too deep into Eric Greitens because there's a lot of, things that I, would not like to be talking about. But he had interfered with a hairdresser, and he faced, criminal charges. I don't want to go too much into detail. So he actually resigned when he won a race in 2016 by a small margin, about 5%, where Donald Trump would be winning Missouri. If you look, Donald Trump won Missouri in 2020 by a much larger margin. Donald Trump won Missouri by 15.4%. Eric Greitens was only winning it by about less than 5%. So a slim margin. He carried Missouri by a very slim margin as governor. Now, there is no governor race in Missouri in 2020, but 2022, I'm sorry. But now the thing is, if he's potentially running for the Senate, which he did announce yesterday night, he will be running for the Senate. And this is really bad news for the Republican Party because he's so unpopular that he actually had to resign 1 year after he won an election to a Democrat. And he was so unpopular. He was faced with criminal charges, and he just resigned, basically. And he's so unpopular that, if he's the candidate, Democrats can flip Missouri back. And even if Republicans do win it, it's going to be by a small margin. It's not safe for the Republican Party. And so this is bad news for the Republican Party because, one, he's not popular. And when you're picking a candidate that's already resigned, they've resigned for a specific reason, But with Eric Greitens, it's unpopularity and criminal charges. And those are not good things. And, lots of negative things. And, so, somebody who had to resign because of his unpopularity is not going to be able to win Missouri. It's not going to be a safe state for the Republican Party at all. If they're going to be, Missouri's not going to be that state that Republicans are probably going to pick up by a safe margin anymore if Eric Greitens won it by 5%. First of all, when he did win by 5%, he wasn't that popular. And as he took office, his popularity decreased more and more and more and more until he just had to resign after less than a year after winning an election in 2016. So what I could potentially see Missouri becoming a swing state and Democrats picking up Missouri, which is not something that many people think about, but Eric Greitens was very high on popularity. So I just don't see Republicans picking up Missouri as they usually would, as Donald Trump would, by 15.4%. In Ohio, like I said, Rob Portman won his seat by about 20%, and Trump won Ohio. Rob Portman is basically the opposite. He's much more popular than other candidates in his state. He won Ohio by exactly 8%. Donald Trump won it in 2020 by exactly 8%, about the same amount in 2016. Rob Portman won, his home state, Ohio, by about 20%. So with Rob Portman out of office, Ohio could be a win for Democrats because obviously, Democrats have already picked up one Senate seat in Ohio, and they picked up one seat in, they have one Senate seat in Ohio. So Ohio is more of it's not really a, potential. With Trump not on the ballot, Ohio is not an 8% state. Ohio is a 3 to 4% state without Trump on the ballot. And obviously, Trump is most likely not going to be on the ballot in 2024. And, Trump is, if he is on the ballot, if he is chosen, obviously, that might benefit the Republican Party in Ohio and Iowa. But it's not, we don't know if that's actually going to happen. And plus, Trump, even if Trump is on the ballot in 2024, he's not going to be in 2028. He's not going to be in 2032. And he's not going to be going forward. Because Trump is not going to be able to keep coming back every 4 years. So, I think Ohio could potentially go blue. In Pennsylvania, obviously, I already, I made a few Senate elections. I really didn't talk about Pennsylvania much. And I'll go to more detail because Pennsylvania is the most competitive state out of all the retirements. I would say Missouri going red, Ohio going red, North Carolina and Alabama going red. North Carolina is a possible blue flip, but I think I would say Democrats would pick up Pennsylvania. But now, I'm really, after I seen, I'm concerned about how Democrats picked up a seat in Alabama. Now, and Alabama got, really close. My Senate prediction is, yes, Democrats will expand their majority. I still think Republicans will pick up Alabama. I still see Republicans picking up Ohio, but I don't see Republicans picking up North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or even Missouri. And plus, Democrats carrying, New Hampshire and these states. And I'm sure if Democrats can pick up Missouri, they're probably going to pick up Wisconsin as well. The margin of victory that Missouri sits on is not an expected margin of victory for Eric Greitens when Trump wins it by 15%. He should be winning it by more or a similar margin. When you're winning it by a less amount, it really benefits the Democratic Party, and that could be a potential flip. Now, this is, I think, my election prediction. I think, it's hard to say Democrats will pick up Missouri and not Ohio, because Ohio is, 8% margin for Donald Trump, regularly 3% margin, and Missouri is a 16% margin most of the time. Unless, somebody like Obama comes in. And, this is it's been definitely going to benefit the Democratic Party, in the Senate a lot. And this is my election prediction. I would never, most surprising factor would be Missouri. And the Republican, the only Republican pathway is, win these races and flip New Hampshire or Vermont or even both. Well, how are those possible? Well, the governor, if Patrick Leahy or, a Vermont senator decides to retire, then it can close down because Phil Scott, the governor of Vermont, is very popular, even though Vermont is a state that goes to Joe Biden by 30%. The governor of Vermont is Phil Scott. He's a Republican. He's very popular. He wins the state by 63%. He wins tremendous support over Democrats, and I don't think Democrats are going to pick up that seat. He might potentially run as a senator in Vermont. Now, Patrick Leahy, we don't know if he's going to retire. He signed the papers just like David Perdue did, but, David Perdue dropped out of the race. So we don't know if he's going to drop out, if he's going to stay in the race. And if he does stay in the race, then I still call these states for the Democratic Party. And this is where the Senate sits now. Florida, obviously coming down. And North Carolina, tilt margin. Wisconsin, leans margin. Ohio and Iowa in the Senate. These are safe margin states. My Senate prediction is Republicans, I showed you, what I think most likely how Democrats will, the Democratic Party stream. I think Ohio will be still a safe state in the Senate. Kansas, obviously closing down. These are states that could, come closer. Alabama, I don't think it's going to get close. Iowa, I don't think it will get close. The state that I'm really focusing on, two states, Vermont and New Hampshire. If there is a retirement, Republicans can flip that. In Pennsylvania, I see Democrats picking up Pennsylvania. This is where I think the election sits in 2020. Now, Republicans would need to pick up both New Hampshire and Vermont, but Democrats only need one of those states. But actually, Democrats already have the majority. I take that back. Now, the reason I have Vermont and New Hampshire blank is because Phil Scott in Vermont, so New Hampshire, I still see Democrats picking up New Hampshire because there's probably not going to be retirement. Phil Scott comes back and Patrick Leahy, retires, South Dakota. Actually, Democrats don't have the majority. If Patrick Leahy retires, I'm going to give you New Hampshire. Yes, Democrats have the majority. Patrick Leahy retires in Vermont. It's a possible retirement. Possible, like I said. So Republicans can pick that up and pick up New Hampshire. But my Senate prediction is probably, I still see, Democrats flipping North Carolina by a tilt margin. And I think, this is what I think will happen in. Actually, I will bring down Missouri to a tilt margin. Just because Eric Greitens is the front runner. I'm actually going to put Democrats carrying Missouri. Why do I think that? Well, because if Eric Greitens is the front runner, then I think they could bring down Wisconsin, and I think they could flip Wisconsin. So this is my 2022 Senate election prediction. Because I think Democrats will, obviously maintain their majority, expand their majority, because Republicans, when we just saw Missouri, Missouri goes blue, then why won't Wisconsin? And I was, it's very interesting to think of that because, Wisconsin is a red state number. Now Missouri could go blue because Eric Greitens might be the front runner. And, North Carolina, you look at, Missouri, we've already won over. North Carolina, you look at the margin of victory for Donald Trump. In 2016, you look how North Carolina has shrunk its margin. 2016, this is 2020. 2016, 3.7%. Let's just say about 4%. 3.7% in 2016. In 2020, North Carolina's margin was 1.3%. So that's a 2.4% margin of difference. Now, what if Democrats bring that 2.4% closer? I would even consider it a lean state for the Democratic Party. I even consider Wisconsin a lean state for the Democratic Party. And this really benefits the Democratic Party because, Arizona, Georgia going blue, Nevada, nothing happening in Nevada. So it's still a tilt margin of victory. So this is, I still see Democrats winning the election with 54 and Republicans at 46. And I think Ohio, without Rob Portman on the ballot, Ohio could shrink. And without Chuck Grassley on the ballot, Iowa could shrink down. So, this is my 2022 election prediction with retirements because of Eric Greitens. And guys, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And to wrap up this video, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my final Senate 2022 midterm election prediction. 54 for the Democratic Party and 46 for the Republican Party. Democrats will pick up North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Missouri. So see you guys next video. Peace out.